your favorite newspaper headline show, Inside Nigeria. And in my hands are 5 newspapers from which I'll be reading the major headlines. My name is Tion Joseph, and without further ado, let's get into the business of the day. I'd like to begin today's show with Nigeria's most famous newspaper, the Leadership newspaper. The headline on Leadership this morning says, finally, Atiku Wike reconciliation collapses. If you want to read further, you can see the full story on page 4. Heading down there to the first bullet says, Rivers governor says he won't campaign for ex-VP. The very next bullet says, nominates Amechi loyalists, 16 others as commissioners. Next one says, Atiku suspends campaign, visits states ravaged by flood today. Again, Tinubu hits PDP flag bearer, accuses him of plagiarizing PMB's agenda. That is what we'll be taking for leadership this morning. But as usual, you can always have these stories and maybe much more on our website. You just need to log on to www.leadership.ng and you will be served. On to the very next daily, we'll be looking at this day. And on this day, the list story says, IG, FCT minister ramp up security in Abuja over terror threat. The first bullet says, launches counter-terrorism operations, simulation exercise. And the last bullet says, instructs FCT CP to rejig strategy, puts 36 states on the standby. That is what we'll be taking on this day. Let's move briskly on to the next Nigerian daily. And with me here, I have The Nation. And on The Nation, the list story says 2023, Wike rejects Atiku. Wow. The first bullet says, Rivers governor vows not to campaign for PDP standard bearer. And the very last bullet on The Nation says, inaugurates council for Rivers party's candidates. That is what we'll be taking on The Nation as we head straight to the next Nigerian daily, The Punch. Lead story on The Punch says, U.S. terror alert, Atiku, Tinubu, Obi demand security beef up, reject campaign suspension. The first bullet says, PDP, Labour Party tax security agencies on supporters protection at rallies. Next one says, police issue advisory, asks parties to fortify campaign venues to forestall attacks. The next bullet says, we are on top of the situation, DHQ, DSS. And the very last bullet says, no cause for alarm, APC, PCC. Now we head straight on to the very last daily on my list before we head on to the second part of the show. We have The Guardian. And the list story says, 2023, women threaten boycott to engage Tinubu, Atiku, Obi, others. First bullet on The Guardian says, Akiyode Afolabi, we don't know presidential candidates' plan for women. Next one says, advocacy group tax Tinubu, Atiku, others on gender balance. Next one said, Nigeria will break up if APC wins, says Obaseki. Wike, Atiku disrespected, sidelining to assemble his campaign list. And the very last bullet says, group forced Wike on exclusion of his group from Atiku. Thank you, viewers, for joining us and staying this long. Remember, the show hasn't ended yet because already in the studio, we have Winifred who will be taking over to do justice to the stories and much more. I'll be back on your way by 10 a.m. And until then, you'll have a great day.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word. sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Good morning. Welcome to Tuesday edition of Inside Nigeria. The program is being brought to you on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Okwebo, and with me in the studio is a public affairs analyst. He's also a political scientist, Adefolari Olabimeko. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here with me. Well, viewers, we have 4 papers for discussion on our menu this morning, talking about Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership, the Nation newspaper, This Day, and Punch newspaper. We are starting off with Nigeria's most influential, Leadership. Leadership's headline news says, finally, Atiku Wike reconciliation collapses. Finally, Atiku Wike reconciliation collapses. Rivers governor says he won't campaign for SVP. Nominates Amechi loyalists, 16 others as commissioners. Atiku suspends campaign. VC states ravaged by flood today. Again, Tinubu hits PDP flag bearer, accuses him of plagiarizing PMB's agenda. Finally, Atiku Wike reconciliation collapses. This is what we have on our cover this morning.
I think this headline is very.
It finally led to this.
Exactly, because I see it. The moment I saw it this morning, I was like, "This is a climax."
And before you start talking, sorry, yesterday too, Leadership also has on its cover one of the writers that Atiku's picture was missing on the branded campaign on vehicles in Rivers State.
That's why I said the quarrel, the fight we normally see in local parlance, the quarrel, the fight, the unreconcilable interest between the two gladiators has finally played out. And for me, it is the climax of their fight. Either we call it a referendum fight, either we call it a political intrigue fight, or either we call it clash of elite interest bargaining crisis between these actors. It has come to an end as it stands today, and an end in the sense that I don't see any point of reconciliation coming up any again, because as the news had it yesterday, imagine the vehicle that we use for campaign in Rivers State doesn't promote the presidential candidate of PDP, just the governorship candidate alone. It speaks a lot, and you won't
volumes.
Exactly, and you won't blame Governor Wike. He has finally taken his what I call the last drop of his decision on the campaign necessary of PDP in his state. I don't know, maybe at other states, maybe there could be a change of mind. But particularly in Rivers State, it has come to an end. There is no campaign for PDP presidential candidate in Rivers State as it stands today. Although we have pocket of numbers of people who may be interested in supporting Atiku to do the campaign in the state. That could happen. But from the governor, from the state house of Rivers State, nothing like that will happen.
Wike, that is the Rivers State governor, Nyesom Wike, has been quite vocal and public about his angst
Mm.
against the PDP presidential candidate and PDP as a whole. And don't you think it was a bit too much?
Maybe too hard on the candidate or too hard on the PDP as a political party. But I've told people on other platforms
Because
on
the
that.
media has been awash every daily on his
Yes,
vituperations
because
against
Wiki have already established
PDP and the
Wiki,
candidate,
you know,
presidential candidate.
Wiki have established his stand. He said this is what he's fighting for: internal democracy. And if you have studied PDP from 1999 till date, they have always had that issue. It is not just PDP, including Mushroom Party. Sorry to say, they also have that challenge of internal democracy, that they will not be able to strengthen themselves from that angle. And that's what Wiki is trying to fight for. That if we don't have this at this point in time, we should continue. And if you look at what is happening in PDP now, just as it happened at the presidential level, that they zone position to different zone, it also happened across board in other smaller positions. Is it senatorial? Is it House of Reps? Even state House of Assembly, including governorship? The zoning formula they have always maintained. The moment they see that the head turn at the national level, the other angle also turn. And we can say that let us try and correct it so that prosperity will judge us right. But many people see it the other way around. Although,
but many people are also of the opinion that Wike, the Rivers State government, cannot continue to have his way, given the role is also played in the removal of secondors.
definitely,
And brought in Ayu, that
definitely,
he cannot be allowed to have his way.
I
So
know.
do you think that because everybody knows that he was largely the financier of PDP, especially in his wilderness years, and now
For me, the removing of the former chairman of PDP was as a result of some irreconcilable transparency and accountability of the party money.
okay.
So if you go back to what happened, it was about the money that was gotten in 2019 presidential election and national election that took place. Where is the money? It was not well accounted for. And again, the convention was also coming, and the chairman they refused to allow it to happen, and he sidelined every other members of the party.
That's it.
Also, at that point, it was also internal democracy that was not being allowed to. So, what is happening today, as some people are saying, is witch hunt against Wike and whatever he has done against the former chairman. I want to see it from the angle that it is more or less that when elites in the political party try as much as possible to impress with their interest, definitely, if it doesn't work for them, they'll find a way around to make it work. And that's what is happening.
Now, with Wike's refusal to conform to the party and campaign, do you think now that the PDP has shot itself in the arm? With election just about 4 months, less than 4 months to go.
We cannot rule out the influence of Governor Wike in the entire Nigerian political space. One, but at this point in time, most of us are zeroing the chances of PDP to just Rivers State. Although we also have some governors that are also following suit with the governor, like the governor for your state, Abia State governor, Enugu State governor, that also, So we have seen the chances that, okay, there may be a slim chance. But we should not forget that there are core loyalist PDP in each of these states that may want to do the undo. And they will definitely do what they need to do. And that's why I say that in the PDP list, there are very strong individuals that have been selected. So for PDP in Rivers State, we should know that at this point in time, for the focus of the election, definitely PDP will not get the numbers of votes they're expecting. But the other states, they'll still have to work towards to get what they want. But in overall of this particular issue, PDP is going through a trying time. And that trying time is as a result of poor internal democracy they refuse to follow.
Okay. And it's still on the Nation newspaper, it's still the headline story. 2023, Wike rejects Atiku. Rivers governor vows not to campaign for PDP standard bearer. Inaugurates council for Rivers party candidates. It's still the leading story on the Nation.
Definitely, it's a news that is going around that in much as it's also a news that is fit for this present situation that we are. This is where elections, election and campaign season, and people want to feed on this political permutation and orientation that's going on. So it's a good news, but at the same time, PDP should put this out.
Yeah. I said that it will serve the interest of other parties very well, seeing that PDP does not know how to contain its
challenges at this point
in time.
For me, at the River State, I see that coming, but other states, PDP will still have to work his way to get what they want to. But in River State, the chances are very slim, very slim. So it's going to be between maybe.
But apart from River State, Lekon. We also know that Wike also has some loyalists among some governors like
Definitely.
Oton, like Makinde,
Mhm.
who are also with Wike in deep. So how do you see chances of PDP in all those states too?
I've said it earlier. I said
Oton already said that he's not prepared to
to
vote
support
for to support Atiku,
uh,
that he will do what God asked him to do.
now we know that Otom normally play politics with everything that comes around. But Otom is just a single person, and he's also contesting for senatorial district in his
Mm.
state. So for PDP, Benue State has been a very stronghold of PDP. So it's going to be very difficult for even Otom to detect, because at the end of the day, when it comes to appointment at the national level, if PDP eventually win, if it's possible for them to win, Oton will not have a stake in nomination of whoever is going to take any position from him if you continue this way. So I see that the loyalists, other loyalists in that state would definitely want to play out. Remember, we have David Mark there. And we also have strong PDP members in that state. There are
We
even more,
have Suswan,
yeah, exactly, former governors. And we also have people who have been in PDP for
APC too,
long.
that also
Even
joined
when
APC.
Otom left PDP, there are people
APC.
who exactly left PDP for APC, then come back.
Yes.
There are people who hold on in PDP. So for me, I just see that he just want to play politics in the sense that so that it can be safe seat for him on 2023. That's what he's saying. But for the other candidates and for other governors in other states, they are also doing the same thing. But for me, what I see is that the loyalty of PDP in those states will determine how much PDP will get, not just the singular governor. Because the singular governor's opinion will rest and end in the government house.
Mm.
That's what I see in it.
Okay. Now I want to ask you one crucial question before we leave this issue of Wiki and PDP's imbroglio. Can PDP afford to be in opposition in the next 4 years?
After all, they have been in opposition for 7 years.
8 years.
For
Almost
8 years, let's say
now,
by 8
yes.
years. What will happen is
In the
that
next 4 years, can PDP actually afford to be in opposition?
after all, they enjoy the 8 years that we are going into now. So 4 years will not be a challenge for them to enjoy. But the key thing is that they are going to lose a very high numbers of individuals and persons in that party. And I'm not saying that it will be the end of PDP. PDP will still continue because I think PDP has only been the party that have been able to turn itself as an institution in the minds of Nigeria as a result of what? Because the trickle down effect of what they did when they were in power, many people felt it. And that's when you see that when people are comparing PDP to APC, when doing PDP, we had their contract here, their contract there, because of the result of what they are doing. Although most of the things they do have been resulted to something that more like wastages of national resources. But people see it like that as means of engineering or empowering people. So people still believe in PDP. But to be out of power for the next 4 years is going to be another disaster. But not an end to PDP.
Right. Let's move over to the next paper we have on our menu. The Punch. The Punch. What is the Punch? Punching this morning. It says US terror alert. Atiku Tinubu Obi demand security before reject campaign suspension. US terror alert. Atiku Tinubu Obi demand security before reject campaign suspension. PDP Labour Party task security agencies on supporters protection at rallies. Police issue advisory asks parties to notify campaign venues to forestall attacks. We are on top of the situation. Defense headquarters DSS. No cause for alarm, says APC PCC. US terror alert. The US embassy actually issued a terror alert on Sunday, and it has gone viral, and especially in FCT. While yesterday, some papers also came up with a story that yes, they were on top of the situation. How true is this? How confident does that make Nigerians?
You
Or
know,
how confident does that make Nigerians?
I think the story when the story came out on Sunday night, some of us were like, okay, why it's coming at the election period, election season, and again, the question that comes to my mind was that how many of this information did the US embassy, UK embassy share with Nigerian security authorities? Because the first thing is that how much of those information do they share with them? Do they really tell them what they have been discovered or what they have found out to be in terms of Nigerian security or national security? Then I also understand that DSS have been coming out with this kind of similar, alert over the year. From I think this year on was much. I think in the last 9 months that we have of this government, the DSS have come out with not less than 5 or 4, reports on to be careful, we should do this, we should do that. So when they replied, they say, okay, we have been giving such, but many of us didn't take it very serious at this point in time until US and UK embassy now alert us on this kind of thing. But for me, how much of this information have they shared with Nigerian authorities so that we can have that intelligence sharing and be able to beef up the security? Because if it affects or it happens that this thing happen, definitely the US embassy and UK embassy will not be spared. That is what I see. So they should share those information with Nigerians. And then on the political actors, they have all said what they think that is right at this point in time, that they reject campaign suspension because the campaign length is just 3 months. So if they don't do the campaign now, where would they do it? But the key thing is that life is also very important. There's life after the politics. So people should be protected. And the DHQ and DSS are come and say that we're on top of the situation. This is the normal language of Nigerian security architecture. We're on top of the situation. We just hope that it is not just on top of the situation. You are beneath the situation. You are in the middle of the situation, and you are around the situation.
However, Alamilekum, many Nigerians have the view that our security agencies of the network is actually more of reactionary than proactive. They gather information, and what are they doing after gathering this information? They just go back to their office and put their hands and wait. Why are they not tackling it, nipping it on the bud?
I think
Sorry.
thank you. The issue has been well established in report, in write-up, in articles. Even people like us are already written about it. The challenge has always come from the coordinating structure of the Nigerian security architecture. That means the Office of National Security Advisor. When DSS come with report, it is passed and it is expected that each agency should take action, but the coordination comes very slow. And the reaction is what we see, that it's more like reactive, rather proactive and pragmatic against such incidents. And that's what I've seen. You remember like 2 months ago that this terror attack in Buhari, where some soldiers were killed. I think there have been incidents of report about certain activities of those terrorist organizations in those vicinity, but there was no proactive or pragmatic action. So we just hope that at this point in time they can be able to put pragmatic activities in their operation. I read also in the news this morning that there will be a going around of security agencies across FCT and other states so that to beef up the security architecture of Nigeria. But going around is not the issue. I think they should also put intelligence in place. I remember one particular story I read about Nigerian police, the Use division, whereby when pickpocket was raining in Use Market, and the DPO then commissioned some officers to become pure water sellers, just to find out who are the people carrying out those people. And they were able to put that to an end. So we just hope that the Nigerian security architecture will also fine-tune and be able to put this kind of active preparation and active engagement into the security architecture of Nigeria so that we can all be safe at this point.
So that we can all be safe. That's a good one. When we are going on the break, when we come back, we'll be looking at the last paper on our menu. Don't go away. Stay tuned.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Welcome back. In case you're just tuning in, this is Inside Nigeria on Leadership Television. With me in the studio is Adefolarin Olamilekan. He is a political scientist and a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much once again
Thanks for having me.
for having time. And my name is Winifred Gogo. We've been looking at politics, security issues, and we are moving over to the next paper we have on our menu, The Guardian. The Guardian says, still talking politics, 20 2023, women threaten boycott to engage Tinubu, Atiku, Obi others. 2023, women threaten boycott to engage Tinubu, Atiku, Obi others. Akiode Afolabi, we don't know presidential candidates' plans for women. Advocacy group tax Tinubu, Atiku, others on gender balance. Nigeria will break up if APC wins, says Edo State Governor Obaseki. Wike, Atiku disrespected, sidelined me to assemble his campaign list. Group forced Wike on inclusion of his group from Atiku. But meanwhile, the headline story says women threaten boycott to engage Tinubu, Atiku, Obi, others.
He's one of
What's your take?
he's one of the biggest
I think
threats.
women have become forceful now. They are coming on that. But these women, they the grassroots women? Because it's the grassroots women actually that do good.
Exactly. You know, this set of women could be women who have formally engaged in politics,
Yes.
women who are engaged in CSO activities and NGO work. No, most of them are more like the official level. They're the informal women that will know that will queue more than the men at voting centers. They may not even know any of these things. So it is that the normal thing that normally happen in Nigeria, that certain urban and suburban groups will just go and argue and threaten government. They will get the whatever they want. Then the people at the grassroots will not get what they want. Because at the end of the day, this set of women that are calling out the politicians, that they should remember them, they should make sure that they fit them into part and parcel of what they are thinking towards 2023. They are also looking for opportunity to see that the seat of power
favors them.
Exactly. So they are not going to do the things that will really bother on the rural women or the women in the rural area or the interior part of Nigeria. Yes. Although we also know that some of them, at the end of the day, whatever they get, they will take a little of it, maybe a carton of Indomie, carton of salt, carton of milk, and go and give to them. But the key thing is that they have gotten the better part of what they are agitating for.
You are so right, because why I say this, Olamide, is the fact that just like you and I know, it's the women at the grassroots that vote, that will take the time out to queue. Because I remember from the state I'm from, what it took me to convince a grandmother and my uncle's wife, who all of them incidentally live in the village, just to change their vote. They said, no, we are traditionally, and they told me, they said, we are traditionally one party. I don't want to mention the party. Exactly. I was trying to, because Shomole just came in that time and everybody loved Shomole. As NLC president. So I know what it took me to convince these women who are at the grassroots, just for them to change their vote to voting Shomole. So what is your take? Because these women are threatening boycott. They are not representing, just like you just pointed out, the women at the grassroots. They just want to represent themselves, and when they get there, and it's a different ballgame together.
And to add to the story is to look at the APC candidate on his part have inaugurated women angle of his campaign. About 2-3 weeks ago, there was a large chunk of women from across the state. They were in Abuja and they were inaugurated. By the wife of the president was there, his own wife was there. Another key actor's wife were also there. So I think APC on their part have been able to take advantage of that particular angle. But I don't know this set of women. Maybe they could more or less be NGOs women who are looking for that affirmative action of 35% or 40%, or the one they are pushing at this point in time, 50%. It could be those set of individuals or those set of women that are now calling out these politicians. But we know that at the end of the day, women will vote. Either this set of people threaten or they did not threaten. The women that will vote.
And these women that are threatened, how far have they gone to the grassroots to sensitize women?
At this security challenge period, how many of them can even go to the grassroots to campaign? The campaign will end up at the urban and suburban areas. In town, in Abuja here, maybe IS, Maraba, Massacre. They will not go to the interior part of those areas where we know that those women will normally come out and vote. I remember in 2019, my mother-in-law went as far as going back. That's why she already signed her village, and she went to the interior part of Nasarawa State to go and cast her vote. And it's about 3 hours journey from Abuja to that place. And those kind of women that she met in those areas, they are not women that this set of women that are threatening will meet, because they can't even travel the road because the road is bad. So they will just speak on the national daily, they will speak through the social media, and the urban women and the suburban women will pick this information up. If they can be able to pass it to them at the village side, fine. But if they cannot be able to pass it at the village side, good for it. But the key thing is that this set of women are also looking for opportunity to be appointed, to be selected, and to be part of the power at the seat. That is just interesting. So we can't leave it. I know most of these NGO women, NGO led by women, are very active in issue of environment, issue of climate change. So most of them will be pushing for things that will favor them. As I said earlier, the affirmative action is 35%. No government in power in Nigeria is going to do that. Now they are pushing for 45 to 50. So that could be another opportunity for them to do that. But I know that at the end of the day, when we say appointment will be and give it be less than 10% of women.
You don't know, we are talking about affirmative action. What is it that the government of the day, even the successive governments, you will not be able to pin them down to actualize this?
It's a challenge. It's not just a Nigerian challenge, it's a global challenge. It's a global challenge in the sense that, with the society that we live in today, especially with capitalism and global capitalism into each nation. And although they have put that blame on African setting that because of the cultural and socio-economic religious attitude of Africans, they normally give little limitation or put limitation to women barrier, women coming up top in government. And you can see what happened in the UK, even though UK is known as a developed country. It also happened that the woman that was elected as prime minister was not given the opportunity to do the right thing, and that's why she has to resign. So it also happened in Africa and much more in African case, especially in Nigeria. Although our experience with women in power has always shown that when they are there, many people will always say that the woman voice is like is more stronger. And there is this fear when they are there, they are so disciplined and they are so disciplined to the point that when it comes to issue of compromise, it's very, very difficult.
It's very difficult.
And for political parties to have a woman as a minister, take for instance the current Minister of Finance, there are many APC members that are not comfortable with her. Even the other one that resigned, it was because of not comfortable with her, Kemi Odosun. That's why they push that narrative that she was not having NYC, so she never did NYC, and the woman have to leave. And you can go and check all government agencies that women are the MD or the DG. The political side will always have issues with them because the woman will always stand on the right. There's no compromise in issues. So it will always be an issue for them, and then they will find a way to clamor on that.
So how do we hold government by the jugular?
To ensure the 35%. I think one of these campaigns.
And you saw some of when during the constitutional amendments, most women bills were thrown out.
Exactly. That's to tell you that the political bearers of Nigeria, the men, always find it very difficult to accept what the women are doing because sometimes they look at it from that prism of it's too narrow, it's too women-centered. So they don't want to see that when you, as we normally say, if you train a woman, you train a society, you train larger, but they don't look at it from that angle. So we just hope that they can be able to champion, and we'll have more of this kind of champion of campaign across Nigeria, not just at the national level, at the state level. How many women are commissioners? I can give it to national state governor. I think he has about 4 to 5 women as commissioners. What about other positions and what about that state? So we need to champion this, not just at national level, because everybody focus is on federal government. What about the state? What about as we found any woman to be a local government chairman? How many women are councillors? How many women are secretary to local government? Deputy governor. So we must champion it. And governor, we must champion it from that angle. And look at what happened in Adamawa APC ticket. After the court said, okay, they should strike out the woman that won the ticket. Now everybody jubilating. And the person that took them to court was someone that when he was a chairman of the EFCC, he was always talking about women empowerment. But now the same person that go against and there's the popularity that the woman is even more popular than him as a candidate. So you can see how people can go against the desire of women to be in government or be at the top in government echelon position.
Now, women threaten boycotts. So how do they hold these presidential candidates to order? Until date, I've not heard any of the candidates talking about his plans for women.
It's going to be very difficult.
They say talk is cheap. Now, how do you tend to do that, to hold them by the jugular, to say, no, you must do this for women. You must include this proviso for women in your manifesto.
Definitely, one of the key things is one, we must campaign, we must use the media. But the major instrument is for the women to penetrate the political parties and become strong members. And they should not go there and become a weak member. When they say women contribute, they will now be say, okay, they should not. No, the women also should contribute to the financial activities of the political parties, because the financial activities of political parties also play a key role on when juicy appointment has been distributed. What about in National Assembly? How many women do we found or have we discovered that are lobbyists in National Assembly? There are very few. So they must be able to take up those structures. National Assembly become a lobbyist in the political party, infiltrate them. When they ask for financial commitment, give Don't allow them to exclude them and say, okay, don't worry, don't pay. Women should not pay. No, say you will pay and contribute so that when you want to talk, you can talk on the basis of your contribution. Because in distribution of appointment, you can see the list of those people that are making the Labour Party campaign council, PDP campaign council, APC campaign. These guys their names are there. If any of these political parties win, these are the guys that will form the bulk of the government in going forward. What I mean is that the people that will be appointed as this, as that, will come from there. People that will become board of directors or government agencies will come from that list, because that is the list they will use to show that during the campaign, we are the one that campaigned for you. This is my name. This is what I did. This is what I contributed. And compensation will come through position, through contract, and the rest of this thing. So women should also find a way to be lobbyists in National Assembly. If you can have, I think there's a group of women in politics. How much of them lobbying for bills, for laws that will favor women are they doing? They should not just wait until donor agencies come and begin to give them money like you want to build. No, they should initiate bills by themselves and get it done at the National Assembly. At the state level, the Child Act right that we have been talking about, that about 6 states or 8 states have not domesticated. It is women that are supposed to push for this. At the state level, how much of those lobbying are they doing at the state assembly level? Then at the local government level, also they must do the same thing. They should not just focus on National Assembly or focus on the federal government. And that, for me, that is not how to get things done nationally and across board.
Thank you so much. Now, before we go, let's go back to Leadership, our sister publication, and see other stories there before we call it a day. Let's go back to Leadership newspaper. Here today on the program Inside Nigeria. Don't forget, tomorrow is another day. Same time, same station. Adefolari, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you on the program.
Right.
I look forward to seeing more of you on the program. And I remain Winifred Webo. See you. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.